What were the aims of the League of Nations? What was the League of Nations? It was an international organisation that aimed to maintain world peace and promote international cooperation after World War I. When was it set up? The League of Nations was established on January 10, 1920 by the Paris Peace Conference. So who was responsible for creating the League of Nations? President Woodrow Wilson proposed the League of Nations as part of his 14-point plan for peace in Europe. The League was Wilson's dream for a new world, a new way of conducting foreign affairs that would abolish war and keep the world safe. But less than a quarter of a century later, Wilson's dream lay in ruins. Which countries joined the League of Nations? When the Assembly met, it consisted of 42 founding members. A further 21 countries joined between then and the dissolution of the League. Did the US join the League of Nations? Bizarrely, it did not, despite Wilson being its chief architect. Was Germany a founding member of the League? Germany was not an original member of the League of Nations when it was established in 1920. So what were the aims of the League of Nations? Firstly, to stop wars. Secondly, to encourage disarmament. And thirdly, to make the world a better place by improving people's working conditions and by tackling disease. What were the strengths and weaknesses? Well, the strengths were, it was set up by the Treaty of Versailles, which every nation had signed. 58 nations as members by the 1930s. To enforce its will, it could offer arbitration through the Court of International Justice or apply trade sanctions against countries that went to war. What were the weaknesses? Well, again, it was set up by the Treaty of Versailles, which every nation hated. The aims were too ambitious. Germany, Russia and the USA were not members. It had no army, organisation was cumbersome, and decisions had to be unanimous. Finally, was it a success? Well, that's a very big question. But history has commonly regarded it as a dismal failure. Although it did suffer major failures during the 1920s and 30s, its successes must not be overlooked, and its drive to wipe out world disease was taken on by the United Nations and continues today. Thank you for listening.
Created using Powtoon.